YouTube, what's going on? Rome. I'm back with another video. A new day, a new video. I got more stuff to say. What can I say? Shout out to y'all, man, who subbed to a brother with under 1,000 subscribers, man. That shows a lot about who y'all are. To be honest with you, to sub to somebody on YouTube that has under 1,000 subs tells me that y'all want real, man. Y'all want real crap. Y'all don't want no BS. Y'all want to know actual real thoughts and opinions, not no paid thoughts or paid opinions or no fluff, no BS, no nothing. Y'all don't want to be bull crapped. I'm going PG here, but y'all get what I'm saying. Y'all don't want to be bull crapped. You know, a lot of y'all that watch me is around my age. I look at my analytics on YouTube, see who's watching, and a lot of y'all are the same age as me and male. I think I got like 1% female and everybody else male. So y'all who watch me, I'm pretty sure y'all want real stuff too. Y'all don't want no BS, you know? Today's society is trash anyway, in my opinion, when it comes to just everything. You know, nothing's real anymore. Food ain't even real. Nothing's real. You know what I mean? But I just had to give y'all a shout out, man, because like I said, it says a lot about you, who you are, to sub to somebody that got under 1,000 subs, bro. Somebody that's sitting at 700 subs and you subbing to him, you know. Shout out to the ones who subbed before I got to 700. You know what I mean? That is incredible. Really, it is. That's realness. That's the type of stuff I want to see. I like realness, man. I like real people. Not no fake crap. Not no agendas. None of that. 2 minutes in, let me get started. I was thinking about consoles, man. And throughout the years, how there always have been a struggle for multiple consoles to stay in the market. It was always a struggle. Usually there's one king. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to consoles. A lot of times they can kind of hold their own, you know, despite the fact that there's one king console. Like, for example, when the NES was around, it was just that, basically. I mean, there were other ones that existed, but NES dominated so hard, bro. Like, when nobody, you know what I mean? And then the same thing happened with the SNES. But then the Sega Genesis came and gave it the competition. So it did make things better. I will say that. SNES, I mean, the Sega Genesis, when it came in the market to challenge Nintendo, made things even better. It forced Nintendo to up their game. So they came with the Super NES. And the way Sega Genesis stayed relevant and stayed battling with Nintendo was because of those exclusive games. And boy, did they bring it. Sega brought it. Because let me tell you, man, Sega was at a disadvantage, man, when it came to gaming. You know, as far as tech, majority of the tech was not on par with SNES. It just wasn't. But what made up for it was the games, man. The Sega Genesis games were so fire, bro. You know, you couldn't go wrong picking one or the other. You know, if you chose the Sega Genesis over the SNES, you had great reason to. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You couldn't. And if you picked the SNES over the Sega Genesis, you had great reason to, because SNES had their own exclusives too. You know? So like I said, that was one hell of a battle. If you ask me, man, I think that was about the fiercest it ever was when it came to console wars. Nothing was more fierce than the SNES and the Sega Genesis fight. You know? It was absolutely incredible. And I was fortunate enough as a kid to have both of those consoles. So I had the best of both worlds. And usually, when it comes to consoles, you know what I'm saying, I've always had multiple. I never just had one and stuck with one. But I'm different. I am different. Just like majority of you that's watching this video are different. Y'all are a lot like me. You know, I'm willing to bet people who are watching this video right now is gaming. Majority of you guys are gaming on both consoles. Majority of y'all's probably got an Xbox and a PlayStation. I'm willing to bet that. I could be wrong, but either way it go, I feel like the market is it's a really tough market when it comes to console gaming. When it comes to gaming, period, but definitely when it comes to console gaming, it's a really tough market, man. And so I see why Nintendo went their own direction and found their own market. And I can see why Microsoft is doing what they're doing with the Xbox and the Xbox brand. You know, I can see it. And it makes sense. There's no way you can battle. I mean, I ain't gonna say there's no way. It's really tough to beat PlayStation for multiple different reasons. Branding, name, quality, games, exclusives. I mean, the list goes on. You have to really invest heavily. You know what I mean? To really give PlayStation a run for its money. You know what I mean? Like really, really compete with Sony. Really, I think that the closest Xbox has ever gotten was the 7th generation with the Xbox 360, and boy, they really brought it. They brought it. They brought the big guns. Don't get me wrong. They made some mistakes. They rushed that system out. So the dang on thing was red ringing all over the place. People, you know what I mean? But they priced it competitively in some ways where they basically they gimped the hell out of it. They took that they didn't have any Wi-Fi. The system didn't have any features. It didn't have any HD formats in terms of HD video format. Stuff like, I mean, they gimped it. It was so gimped. So it was easy. Put it like this. If they would have had all of those accessories built into the Xbox 360 at the time of launch, it would have been the same price as the PS3. And Xbox just couldn't do that. They couldn't do it. A hard drive, a Wi-Fi connectivity, basically a Blu-ray drive. HD DVD is it's a downgraded Blu-ray. Basically, is what it is. It produced the same video quality and stuff. You know what I mean? I mean, the list goes on. Like if they would have packed all that stuff into the 360 at launch, you know what I mean, or majority of the stuff or whatnot, it would have been the same price, maybe even more than the PS3 at launch. You know what I mean? But the PlayStation banking heavy on its branding and recognition and everything else, quality. I mean, you name it. They was like, hey, we're gonna put this PS3 out at this price, $599. Give it all the bells and whistles. Here. People it's PlayStation. The fans is gonna buy it anyway. And truthfully, they did. Truthfully, they did. A lot of people did buy it, the hardcore. But, it priced a lot of people, it priced itself out of the market to a degree, A lot of people couldn't afford a PS3 at that time. $600 back then in 2005 or 2006. Yeah, wait, 2005, whatever, 2005, 2006 when it came out. $600 back then is like $900 today, something like that. You know what I mean? You imagine buying a console if these new consoles is $900? Them systems ain't moving for a lot of people like me. To buy it, I would buy it just because I'm just a super fan, But a lot of people ain't gonna buy it. You know what I mean? And that, I think I'm veered off track, but what I want to say is, when it comes to these consoles fighting for the same market, because that's what you're doing, you're fighting for the same market. You have to be you have to be downright dirty competitive, super competitive. Like, you know what I mean? And majority of the games are third party. So there's really nothing to separate the two consoles in a lot of ways but the exclusive games. And that's where Sony beat Microsoft. You know what I'm saying? But I think Microsoft could have really, if they wanted to, they could have spent more money, but it still would have been risky because you still would have had fans who were locked in, you know. The ecosystems play a part. It's going to be hard to get somebody off of PlayStation over to Xbox. Even if Xbox had the games, right? Yeah, us hardcore would probably have them, right? But majority of the market would have still would have had to pick one or the other. Because usually, if I'm not mistaken, most people have just one console. You know what I'm saying? It's usually just one, maybe two consoles in the house, but usually it's just one console in the house. You know what I'm saying? Unless I don't know, I'm old school. But I still feel like that's what it is at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So that's tough to compete with when you got two systems. They both basically got the same architecture. I mean, the PS4 and Xbox One, in terms of specs, were almost identical. You know what I mean? Same architecture, same GPUs. You know what I'm saying? RAM was almost the same, even though the PS4 had GDDR5. And I think, no, RAM was much different. Yeah, because Xbox One had GDDR3 RAM. Never mind that. The RAM, sorry about that. But it did have that ESRAM buffer in the Xbox One that actually helped it out some. If it didn't have that ESRAM, which I was told that they threw that in at the last second. It probably would have performed much worse, the Xbox One, initially. You know what I mean? But what I'm trying to say is the console market is tough because it's only room for one because, they generally pretty expensive consoles. $400 or $500 per, you know what I'm saying? That's pretty expensive, And then on top of that, they're not, a lot of people are fans of game. They're fans of gaming, but they're not hardcore. You got tiers. You have casuals, then you got core, then you got hardcore, then you got super hardcore. I mean, and a lot of people fall up under that core where they just need that one system, and they learn to be a fan of that one system. That's why there's a lot of people that's on Xbox, even though Xbox they virtually don't have nothing to offer. Really. They really don't. But you still have fans that's still on the Xbox team that loves Xbox no matter what. Xbox can deliver them nothing and they still ride with it, A lot of it has to do with branding and other stuff, a lot of other factors. But that don't make it the it doesn't mean that it makes Xbox relevant, in a lot of ways when it comes to consoles. They got to figure out a way to compete and not even compete because they're not competing no more. They just want to find their own market. They don't want to compete for the same market because it's tough to do that. It's tough to do that. That's why they're doing the stuff they're doing right now with the Game Pass and the other stuff. Play anywhere. Putting their games on PC and all of this stuff. Because really, they make the money. They really make the money off the games. They don't make the money off the hardware anyways. They make the money off the games. So if their game systems ain't selling, they can't make any money. You know what I mean? They can't make no money. So they got to go with the what they're doing right now. They got to go with that. Like I said, it's really only room for one. You know what I'm saying? You have those exceptions, like the 7th generation, and that was just one. That was a bloodbath. It was, and the 5th. I think that was the 5th generation, SNES and the Sega Genesis. That was the SNES and the Genesis was just absolutely phenomenal. That was the true bloodbath right there. Really. And then the Sega Gen, I mean the Xbox 360 and the PS3, that was a slugfest. That's what that was. That was a slugfest. But the SNES and the Sega Genesis was a bloodbath, bro. All the other systems, it was no room for them. You know, you had TurboGrafx 16, Neo Geo, which was a non-factor. No one could afford that. Phenomenal system. No one could afford that. And I think the 3DO was around at the time, and it's tough. It's tough. Kudos to Sony though. Kudos to Sony for coming in and saying, "Hey, this is ours. This is us. You know, you want this? Come take it." Kudos to Sony. Shout out to them. I wanted to say all that, man. It was in me, and I wanted to say it. Hey, I appreciate y'all watching the video, man. And I appreciate y'all hitting that like button too. Y'all been smashing that like button like a mug. I appreciate y'all. Appreciate the love. Appreciate the likes. Appreciate the subscriptions. And I appreciate y'all comments, man. I appreciate the engagement. I appreciate y'all, man. Wrong. I'm gone.